Well, it's now official. The JP Morgan Ripple partnership is finally here. In today's video, I want to break down a brand new announcement that is flying completely under the radar. We'll also talk about some massive developments that are lining up for 2026, and I'll walk you through a few XRP price charts that reveal a trend you absolutely cannot ignore. The other day, I made a call that went directly against what most of the crypto industry was thinking, and now I'm more confident than ever that I'm going to be right. As always, your support means the world to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe. Those two simple actions genuinely help more than you know. And if you've ever bought or plan to buy XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange, Uphold, linked in the description below. With that said, let's jump right into it. Before we dive into everything else, let's talk about the big news that is being heavily overlooked right now, and that's the JP Morgan and Ripple partnership. Just today, it was announced that JP Morgan is launching a strategic partnership with G Treasury. This is brand new, and it strongly points to what now appears to be an official JP Morgan Ripple connection. For those who may not know, G Treasury was acquired by Ripple earlier this year. G Treasury is connected to more than 13,000 financial institutions and facilitates roughly $6 trillion in annual settlement volume within the Treasury market. This was one of those acquisitions I immediately labeled a home run for Ripple, and now we're starting to see why. Ripple isn't chasing flashy acquisitions just for brand recognition. They're not buying hype. Instead, they're acquiring the most critical fintech infrastructure inside the global banking system.
These are companies with deep, embedded relationships across systemically important financial institutions, companies with real influence, real reach, and real volume. Ripple is bringing those firms in-house. Why? Because Ripple understands the single biggest obstacle facing blockchain adoption today. Legacy financial institutions don't want to move, not because the technology isn't better, but because adopting it would cannibalize parts of their existing business. So instead of waiting for banks to voluntarily migrate, Ripple is forcing the transition. They're acquiring mission-critical infrastructure and moving it on-chain. This isn't optional adoption, it's a structural migration. What Ripple is building, and I couldn't agree more with this framing, is a next-generation banking and settlement platform. A system that any major financial institution can plug into and instantly gain access to blockchain technology without needing to understand the underlying complexity. This, in my opinion, is the real endgame for crypto. For years, the narrative was that banks would build everything themselves, that they'd hire internal teams, develop proprietary ledgers, and move natively on-chain. That was never realistic. The truth is, elite crypto talent isn't going to work at JP Morgan or Bank of America. They're going to work at the leading blockchain companies. And because of that, banks simply cannot keep up on their own. They need companies like Ripple. Ripple is positioning itself as the bridge, creating custom software, user interfaces, and compliance-ready tools that allow regulated financial institutions to access blockchain rails without needing to become blockchain experts. And through acquisitions like G Treasury, Ripple is embedding itself directly inside the global financial system. They're not asking permission, they're becoming indispensable.
That's why, in my opinion, this setup could not be better for XRP, and I don't think this is something only the XRP community is noticing. Just days ago, Carolyn Pham, former CFTC commissioner, posted a photo of herself with Brad Garlinghouse, captioned, "How it started." That's not random. You don't see former regulators signaling like that unless something very real is happening behind the scenes. These developments are intentionally staying out of the mainstream media. They're being kept under the radar, but anyone paying attention can see what's coming. This went from retail speculation to quiet back-end partnerships, to official announcements, and now to public confirmation from high-level regulators. The only people who still don't get it are those stuck in an outdated vision of what crypto was supposed to be. Even longtime XRP critics are reversing course. People who spent years dismissing Ripple are now openly admitting they were wrong. The evidence has simply become too overwhelming to ignore. These developments are going to have real consequences for the market. Now let's talk price. When you zoom out and look at the yearly XRP chart, the picture becomes very clear. We are sitting right near previous all-time highs. The trend is clean, up and to the right. Zooming out removes the noise, the daily volatility that people obsess over, and what you're left with is a chart that looks primed for expansion. Meanwhile, people are panicking over short-term fluctuations while completely ignoring the fact that JP Morgan is integrating Ripple infrastructure on the back end. That disconnect won't last forever. There's one more chart I want to show you, because it's my favorite. Before the 2014 and 2016 XRP rallies, the price either trended downward or moved sideways for extended periods of time. XRP has a habit of boring people to sleep and then exploding upward out of nowhere.
Bitcoin and Ethereum tend to grind higher gradually. XRP doesn't. It compresses, then it launches like a beach ball held underwater. Why does it move like this? I don't know. Market manipulation, shakeouts, coincidence? I've never seen definitive proof. But what I do know is this: nothing else in crypto behaves quite like XRP, while also securing constant real-world partnerships with global financial institutions. That combination is hard to ignore. Whether intentional or not, XRP has a way of shaking out impatient holders, then repricing before most people can react. And based on everything we've seen historically, the current price action is not bearish, it's bullish. Personally, I've never been more excited heading into 2026. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this update. And with that said, I'm out.